bata! I'm Teacher Nel, your science teacher for today. Pag may special na okasyon sa bahay like birthday, hindi nawawala ang mga gelatinous desserts like gelatin cake, gulaman, at marami pang iba. So yummy and delicious, right? But the question is, what type of mixture is gelatin? How about medicine syrup? Why is it you have to shake it properly before using it? All of these questions will be answered in our video lesson today, which is all about colloids and suspensions. Welcome to the world of colloids and suspensions. The learning objectives of this lesson are the following. Describe suspension as a non-uniform mixture. Infer that colloid is a non-uniform mixture. And identify common household colloids and suspensions and their uses. Before we begin, let us see how much you learn about characteristics of solid. Get your notebook and pen and be ready to answer the 5 questions that will be flashed on screen. Handa na ba kayo? At the count of 5, we will start the first question. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Directions. Identify what is asked or described in each item, then write the letter of the correct answer in your notebook. Number 1. Which of the following is an example of suspension? A. Seawater. B. Milkshake. C. Chocolate milk. D. Flour and water. Number 2. Which of the following best describes a suspension? Letter A. The particles of a suspension is stable. Letter B. The particles of a suspension cannot be separated. Letter C. The particles of a suspension is evenly spread out. Letter D. The particles of a suspension is not stable and will settle at the bottom. Number 3. What do you call a mixture of particles evenly scattered in a dispersed medium without settling down? A. Colloid. B. Solute. C. Solvent. D. Suspension. Number 4. Which statement below best describe colloid mixtures? A. The colloidal particles can be seen by a naked eye. Letter B. The colloidal particles are smaller than the particles of solution. Letter C. The colloidal particles are of the same sizes of suspension and solution. Letter D. The colloidal particles are slightly smaller than the particles of suspension. Number 5. A phenomenon of scattering of light in colloidal mixture is called blank. A. Absorption. B. Tyndall effect. C. Brownian motion. D. Electrical charge effect. How did you find the test? Don't worry if you find it difficult. This just means that there are more things that you have to learn from this video lesson. But before that, let us first define the terms used in our lesson. The following terms used in this lesson are defined as follows. Colloid is mixture with particles evenly scattered in a dispersed medium without settling down. Suspension is a heterogeneous mixture of two or more substances. Brownian motion, a motion of tiny particles that collide or bump each other. Tyndall effect, scattering of light in colloidal and suspension. This time, we have to perform the next activity about colloids and suspensions. Are you ready? So let's start. The activity is entitled 4 Peaks, 1 Word Game. Ang nakikita ninyo sa inyong screen ay ang iba't ibang pictures na nagdi-describe sa jumbled word na nakikita sa pinakababa. Analyze the pictures carefully to find out the correct word. So what is the word all about? How about these pictures? Analyze carefully to find out the correct word. Did you guess the word correctly? Let's see. The first set of pictures are all about colloids. What are colloids? The word colloids come from a Greek words colla and eidos. The word colla is glue and eidos means like. Thus, colloidal particles are glue-like substances. Examples are gelatin, fruit jam, cream cheese, and butter. The second set of pictures are all about suspensions. What are suspensions? Suspensions are mixtures in which insoluble particles are suspended in a liquid or gas. Examples are vegetable soap, oil and chili, oil and sand, and oil and water mixtures. Let us explore as we investigate the characteristics of colloids and suspensions. Our next activity, entitled Investigate Mixes. Materials are 3 empty glasses, cornstarch or gawgaw, sugar, hot water, cold water, spoon, and a pin light or flashlight. Activity 1, procedure. Glass A, put a cold water. Then add 1 spoon of sugar. Stir the sugar with water and wait until it dissolves. Number 2, procedure. In glass B, add hot water. Then put the gaw-gaw or cornstarch, 1 spoon. Stir it until it dissolves and set aside. Activity number 3, procedure. Glass C, add the cold water. Then put 1 spoon of uncooked gaw-gaw or cornstarch. Do not stir, leave it as is and observe what happens. Activity number 4. Number 1. In each glass, there wick a beam of light from a pin light or flashlight in dark room. Number 2. Look at the ray of light focused at right angle with the mixture. Answer the following guide questions in your activity notebook. Remember, you have to submit your answers to your science teacher for checking. Number 1. Compare the colors of the mixtures. Number 2. Which mixture is clear and transparent or no particles are observed? Number 3. Which mixture has fine particles that do not settle? Are these particles visible to the naked eye? Number 4. Which mixture has big particles that tend to settle at the bottom of a glass? Number 5. Which mixture exhibits rays that scattered when a beam of light is passed through it? What do you call this scattering of light? Number 6. How do we know that this mixture is a colloid? Keep this in mind that colloid is a mixture with particles evenly scattered in a dispersed medium without settling down. It is also a special kind of mixture that contains very tiny particles that cannot be seen by the unaided eye. The following are the colloidal properties. 1. The tiny particles do not settle down. Instead, they move rapidly and collide or bump each other. Number 2. The motion of these tiny particles is called Brownian motion. Number 3.
A cloudy or glue-like appearance is formed due to rapid motion of tiny particles. Number 4. There is a scattering of light when light beams pass through due to the dispersed particles which absorbed, reflect, and scatter the light. This phenomenon is called Tyndall effect. Let's proceed to our next activity entitled Mixture of Flour and Water. Turn off the light using a flashlight. Focus the light on the mixtures. Take note of your observation. After 5 to 15 minutes, observe again and write your observation in your notebook. Answer the following guide questions in your activity notebook. Again, don't forget to submit your answers to your science teacher for checking. Number 1. Can you still see the flour after mixing it with water? Why? Number 2. How many phases did you see in the mixture? Number 3. When lighted by a flashlight, what have you observed? Number 4. After some time, what happened to the flour particles? Number 5. What type of mixture have you observed in your experiment? The general characteristics and properties of suspensions are: Number 1. Suspensions are a heterogeneous mixture of two or more substances. Number 2. Particles of the solute do not dissolve in the solvent. Rather, they remain suspended in bulk throughout. Number 3. The size of particles of suspension is large enough to be visible to the naked eyes. Number 4. When it is left for some time, particles settled at the bottom. Therefore, it is not stable. Number 5. The particles in it can be separated through the process of filtration. Our last activity for this video lesson is entitled Shopping Time. You and your mother brought the following items from the supermarket: mayonnaise, salad dressing, brown sugar, detergent powder, medicine syrup, fruit juice with pulp, shampoo, toothpaste, canned goods, milk, oil, salt, ketchup, chlorine, Obijam, vinegar, butter, olive oil, and dishwashing liquid. Select 5 items that are colloids and suspensions and describe its uses. Write your answers on your activity notebook. Keep this in mind that colloids are important to daily life. Natural colloids such as blood, clouds, and fog are basic for living things. Man-made colloids are also useful. Numerous colloids such as milk, butter, gelatin, jam, jelly, and other creamy substances such as mayonnaise and whipped cream are used as food or ingredients for preparing food. Some colloids such as magnesium hydroxide, creams, and ointments are used as medicines and cosmetics. In a suspension, the medicine syrup particles may settle at the bottom of the container and undisturbed for a long period of time. Shake the suspension medicine syrup to mix the particles well. This is because the medicine syrup is mixed with a liquid, usually water, in which it cannot dissolve and therefore remains intact in the form of small particles. The important things to remember is that you have to shake a suspension before giving each dose so that the medicine particles are evenly distributed throughout the liquid. This time, write in your notebook about your final insights by completing the following sentence prompts. I have learned that. I wish to ask my teacher about. Submit your answers to your science teacher. To strengthen your ideas about this lesson, accomplish the following task and write your answer in your notebook. Submit your answer to your science teacher. Number 1. List 5 colloid items which you normally use in daily lives. Number 2. List 5 suspension items which you normally use in daily lives. Assessment time! Get your notebook and pen and answer the 10 questions that follow. Are you ready? At the count of 5, we will start the first question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Directions: identify what is asked or described in each item, then write the letter of the correct answer in your notebook. Number 1. A phenomenon of scattering of light in colloidal mixture is called blank. A. Absorption. B. Tyndall effect. C. Brownian motion. D. Electrical charge effect. What do you call a mixture of particles evenly scattered in a dispersed medium without settling down? A. Colloid. B. Solute. C. Solvent. D. Suspension. Number 3. Which of the following best describes a suspension? Letter A. The particles of a suspension are stable. Letter B. The particles of a suspension cannot be separated. Letter C. The particles of a suspension are evenly spread out. Letter D. The particles of a suspension are not stable and will settle at the bottom. Number 4. What natural colloid is found inside the body? A. Blood, B. Heart, C. Lungs, D. Intestines. Number 5. Which statements below best describe colloid mixtures? A. The colloidal particles can be seen by a naked eye. Letter B. The colloidal particles are smaller than the particles of solution. Letter C. The colloidal particles are of the same sizes of suspension and solution. Letter D. The colloidal particles are slightly smaller than the particles of suspension. Number 6. Which is an example of a suspension? A. Glue, B. Gelatin, C. Soft drink, D. Muddy water. Number 7. Which of the following is incorrectly paired? A. Gel colloid, B. Shampoo colloid, C. Gelatin suspension, D. Muddy water suspension. Number 8. Which mixture is not a suspension? A. Oil and water, B. Flour and water, C. Sand and water, D. Fruit juice and water. Number 9. Which does not belong to the group? A. Smoke, B. Mayonnaise, C. Soft drink, D. Toothpaste. Number 10. What is the phenomenon characterized by rapid movement of colloidal particles which prevents them from settling? A. Absorption, B. Tyndall effect, C. Brownian motion, D. Electrical charge effect. Congratulations mga bata! Thank you for finishing the video lesson. Sana ay may natutunan kayo sa araling ito. Hanggang sa muli. Again, this is your teacher Nell. See you again